The other day, there was a topic of discussion that I have to give credit to PHNX Sports and PHNX Cardinals. My guys, Johnny Venerable and Bo Brock did a list of the top 10 players on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I can't remember exactly if that was a list in terms of the top 10 Cardinals on just the offensive side of the ball or the entirety of the team. If I'm not mistaken, it was just the offensive side of the ball. And there was a little bit of worry there for me. Yes, this was the top 10 players on both sides of the ball. So all put together in one. And their list was Trey McBride, Budda Baker, James Conner, Kyler Murray, Garrett Williams, Paris Johnson Jr., Josh Sweat, Marvin Harrison Jr., Yoda Froholt, Calais Campbell. That was their list of the top 10 Arizona Cardinals right now on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. I can't say I disagree with them too much on this list. But when you put it like this, that Kyler Murray is the fourth best player on the Arizona Cardinals, maybe I disagree a little bit. It's a little worrisome to me. So although those guys have him at the fourth best player, that's probably not where I would put Kyler. I'd throw Trey McBride, Budda Baker, James Conner. I'd probably put Garrett Williams and Paris Johnson Jr. ahead of Kyler Murray. If we're talking about how good they are at their positional job, those guys, Paris Johnson Jr. is a highly skilled left tackle. Garrett Williams, I think, is the best slot corner in the NFL. It's not fair to put Kyler over those guys, but I'm not really interested in that per se. Let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. If you're ranking the top players on the offensive side of the ball, this is how I think it goes. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the list, where does Kyler Murray fit there? And I think it's a really fun exercise to do if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, because then you can line it up towards, oh man, is Kyler even one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC? And you look at the list and you would say, number one on the list, Trey McBride. I don't think it's necessarily close. Number two, I'd say James Conner is just a better at his position than Kyler Murray. Paris Johnson Jr., I would say, is ahead of Kyler. He is a better left tackle than Kyler is quarterback. And that is the question. Is that player better at their position than Kyler Murray is at his position? That's all you can kind of rank it up to be. And those guys are. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Yoda Froholt, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner. I would throw Yoda Froholt at the fourth overall spot on the Arizona Cardinals offense. And now here's where it gets interesting. Where does Marv go? Where does Kyler go? I think if you're talking about the top 10 players on just offense alone, Kyler Murray is the fifth best player on the Cardinals offense behind Trey McBride, James Conner, Paris Johnson Jr., Yoda Froholt. Because all of those players are better at their positions than Kyler Murray is at his. This is not better total overall players. This is what do you do for the team? And these players all contribute more than Kyler Murray has consistently. And that can be a little bit worrisome because this isn't the Philadelphia Eagles offense where, yeah, Jalen Hurts is like the fourth or fifth best player on that offense. But you have to remember, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, and multiple other offensive linemen who are really good. Cam Jurgens, another guy's name who I cannot Jordan Mailata is on that offensive line too. Like all of those guys, you can make an argument are better than Jalen Hurts. However, that team is a Pro Bowl level team. That is an insane roster. Kyler Murray can be the fifth best player offensively on the Arizona Cardinals on that team and still win a Super Bowl. On this team, yeah, I think James Conner's good. I think Trey McBride's good. I think Paris Johnson Jr. is very good. Yoda Froholt. But when you're talking about stacking this roster up against other teams, it just doesn't compare. So although Kyler right now is probably the fifth best player on the offense, you could make an argument he's fourth. I would listen to you if you said he was better than Yoda Froholt. However, There's no argument really right now that he's better than Trey McBride, James Conner, Paris Johnson Jr. offensively. So where does Kyler have to be? On this offense, he has to be the second best player on this team for them to have a real chance to make a dent in the playoffs. I still think because of their schedule, they could make the playoffs, but you're looking for that playoff win. Kyler has to be the second best player on this offense if you want this team to succeed. No if, no ands, no buts about it. No buts about it, I guess I should have said. Kyler has to be better this year. And we've continued to beat that drum constantly. But offensively, if we're talking about on the whole team, he's 6th, 7th best player, that's fine. I'm not worried about defensively. But this offense has talent. But it's not that talented to where Kyler should be overshadowed. If we want to see the Cardinals have a chance to make a dent in the playoffs, and just getting to the playoffs isn't good enough, Kyler has to win a playoff game, or we're talking about year 7 going into year 8 where he hasn't won a playoff game yet. It's not good enough. And when you're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. behind the rest of these guys, Kyler needs a true number 1, so Marvin's got to step up too. If we're talking about a team that is going to try to make a splash this year in the playoffs, we're talking about a team that is led by Kyler Murray, not 6th, 5th on the list offensively. You can do that if you're Jalen Hurts. You can do that if you're Jared Goff. Those teams are loaded. Those are absolute Pro Bowler teams. Cardinals don't have that. It's why we continue to beat the drum that everything rides on the shoulders of Kyler Murray this year. He has to be the second or third best player on a pretty good offense. Look at some of the other quarterbacks just in the NFC. How many of those teams don't have a top 3 quarterback if you ranked their players offensively? I ultimately think if you're going to be that team, like Jordan Love, pretty good quarterback. Matt Stafford, pretty good quarterback. Jared Goff isn't in that list, but it doesn't really matter. Jaden Daniels, you'd probably list him as the best player offensively on their team. And look at the other side of the bracket. Look at the AFC. Where do Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, where do those guys all come into play? Josh Allen. If you want to have a quarterback that is a difference maker, he can't be behind 4 other guys offensively in the rankings. And just so we're clear, I believe Kyler can do that. I do think Kyler can move his way up in the pecking order all the way to the first best quarterback, or all the way to being the first best player on this team. I guess I should say all the way being the best player on this team, ranking all the positions. I do believe he has the ability to do that. He just has to make it happen. And at the end of the day, it comes all the way back to consistency. But I'll tell you this. If Kyler is the 4th, 5th, God forbid 6th best player offensively on his own team, this team's not sniffing the playoffs. This team's not making the playoffs. This team's not anywhere near a contender. And then you have bigger problems. You're talking about at the end of the year, not cosmetics and fixing a couple of things so that next year you can take that next step. You're talking about, do I have the right guy? And then you start going down the Max Hall, John Skelton, Ryan Lindley hole. So it was eye-opening when I saw this on PHNX Cardinals. I was like, man, I don't necessarily think they're wrong. And if that's the case, then very worrisome that the Arizona Cardinals are a true threat in the playoffs. And I know it's wishful thinking already to think they would be, but there's no chance it would happen if Kyler Murray isn't a elite level player on his own offense.